Welcome to the deep dive. So today we have this really fascinating stack of veterinary insights, um, breed-specific research, and caregiving notes.
Yeah, and it's all focused on a really specific transition. What happens when an elite canine athlete actually starts to age?
Right. Specifically, we're looking at the Whippet today.
Which is such a unique biological case study.
It really is. And our mission today is to explore this biological and, emotional shift and figure out what it actually takes to support a highly specialized body as it slows down.
Because it completely changes how you have to care for them.
Exactly. But to really understand this, I want you to just picture a scene for a second. Imagine a quiet morning. The house is completely still.
Setting the mood, I like it.
Right. So underneath this thick, heavy pile of blankets on the sofa, there's a dog, an old dog. You walk into the kitchen, you start making your coffee, and for a long moment, nothing happens.
And, years ago, that lack of movement just meant they were resting deeply. But at this stage in their life, it usually means their body requires an extra deliberate moment to actually gather the physical energy to get going. The internal engine just takes longer to turn over.
Right, it's not instant anymore.
Right.
So then you finally see the head lift. There's this slow, very careful, methodical stretch.
Just kind of testing the joints.
Yeah, testing the waters. The feet finally find the floor, and they rise just a little more stiffly than they used to.
Right.
And the morning walk that follows is noticeably shorter. The daily sprinting, those magnificent bursts of speed, they just seem like a thing of the past.
Which is perfectly normal.
But then, out on that quiet morning walk, a squirrel crosses the path in the distance.
And in that fraction of a second, the years just vanish.
Literally. For one split second, that old dog snaps into perfect, razor-sharp focus. They are alert. They are alive.
They look exactly like the elite, athletic young dog they used to be, right?
Exactly. Completely ready to launch. But then, they let out a breath, the tension drops, they turn around, and they quietly walk home with you.
It's such a poignant image. And it really captures the absolute core philosophy of all our research today.
It does.
Because senior care for a Whippet, or really any canine athlete, is not about mourning what has changed. It is entirely about protecting what remains.
Protecting what remains. I love that phrasing.
Yeah, but that philosophy of protection forces us to completely rethink how we even define the word senior.
How so?
Well, to protect what remains, you first have to recognize when that protective phase actually begins. And a major misconception we need to dismantle right now is the idea of a fixed timeline.
Like reaching a certain birthday.
Exactly. There is no magical birthday where a dog wakes up and is biologically classified as a senior. You can't just look at a calendar, circle year 8 or year 9 and decide it's time to swap out their kibble.
Or just stop taking them on walks.
Right. The onset of those senior years isn't a date. It is a biological transition.
And according to the sources, it's dictated by a highly individual mix of factors, right? Like we are talking about their specific genetics, the wear and tear from past injuries.
Oh, past injuries play a huge role.
Yeah, and their weight management over their entire lifespan. And surprisingly, their dental history.
The dental part is wild, but it's so true. Some Whippets will start showing cellular and systemic aging changes much earlier.
While others maintain their physical integrity much later.
Exactly. So it means you, as the owner, have to learn to observe rather than just counting the years.
But observation is critical, because well-meaning owners frequently misinterpret those early signs of aging, don't they?
Oh, all the time. When a dog starts moving a bit slower, the instinct is to just wave it off as, oh, they're just getting old.
Right.
But that assumption is incredibly dangerous. Chronological aging itself isn't a disease, but slowing down often masks real addressable discomfort.
So we have to watch for the biological subtleties. We're looking for stiffness after a long rest, a shortened stride length on a walk.
A new hesitation at the bottom of a staircase is a big one.
Yeah. Or like a reluctance to jump into the back of the car.
Yeah.
Our sources also point to a behavioral shift, which is interesting. A quietness that feels distinctly different from the dog's baseline calmness.
Which can be so hard to spot in an already calm breed.
Right, but wait, if you're listening to this and you've got a dog at home, you might be thinking, aren't dogs known for yelping or whining when they're hurting?
That's the logical leap everyone makes.
Right. Why are we forced to play detective and look for a shortened stride? If a dog is in joint pain, wouldn't they just loudly let us know?
It's a completely logical question, but it really ignores the evolutionary biology of a Sighthound.
How so?
Well, breeds like Whippets are remarkably stoic. In the wild, or even just in their genetic history as hunting dogs, showing vulnerability or vocalizing pain makes an animal a target.
Oh, wow. Or it means getting left behind by the pack.
Exactly. They are hardwired to mask their discomfort. They are not going to dramatically announce their joint pain or complain loudly.
But the body always tells the truth if you know the language.
Right, the alarms are quiet, but they're absolutely there.
Like licking obsessively at a specific joint,
Yes, or showing sudden irritability when you touch them in a certain spot.
or even shifting constantly during sleep because they just can't find a comfortable angle.
Exactly. They won't cry out, but their micro behaviors will essentially shout that something is wrong.
And recognizing that their body is quietly changing and masking this pain, it leads to this really fascinating and honestly somewhat dangerous disconnect.
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky.
Because the dog's physical hardware is wearing down, but their software, their mind, their instinct, their prey drive hasn't faded in the slightest.
Not even a little bit. And this creates a profound conflict when you're managing an aging athlete.
Right, because the human instinct when we see an older dog struggling is to basically wrap them in cotton wool. We want to stop their activity entirely to keep them safe.
Which makes sense emotionally, but our research argues the absolute opposite. Movement is what keeps life open.
If you stop moving a senior dog, it actually makes things worse.
Right. Much worse. Their joints lose lubrication, their muscles atrophy faster, and honestly, their cognitive world shrinks.
So exercise has to be adapted, not erased.
Yes. And this is where we get into the physiology of aging joints. As they age, cartilage wears down and synovial fluid, which is the natural lubricant in the joints, it decreases.
So to keep that fluid moving without causing impact damage, you have to shift your routine. You do shorter, but perhaps more frequent walks.
Right, and you prioritize sniffing and mental stimulation over just pacing for miles.
You also stick to soft, non-slippery surfaces, right?
Yeah.
Like grass or dirt instead of harsh pavement.
Exactly. And you need to introduce a gentle warm-up before they move faster, just getting blood flow to those older muscles.
And you have to actively avoid chaotic environments. I mean, a rough, unpredictable dog park that a younger Whippet could navigate by dodging and weaving.
Is now a major injury risk.
Yeah, for a dog whose reaction times and stabilizing muscles have slowed down, it's just too dangerous.
And managing that environment becomes so crucial because of what we mentioned earlier, that prey drive. Oh, the prey drive. The neurological pathways that trigger the instinct to chase are incredibly deep and incredibly fast.
The eyes will spot a rabbit, and the amygdala will send the signal to launch long before the conscious brain can remind the dog that their hips are arthritic.
It's entirely instinctual.
It sounds exactly like, a retired extreme sports athlete.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. Their brain still firmly believes they can pull off a double backflip on a snowboard, but their actual knees are screaming, absolutely not.
The instinct is entirely divorced from the physical reality. The software is still running the high-performance program, but the hardware will catastrophically fail if it tries to execute it.
So your primary job as a caregiver at this stage is really managing that gap between their instinct and their physical reality.
Which brings up a really important concept in the research called recall realism.
Recall realism.
Yeah, it means being brutally honest with yourself about whether your dog will actually come back to you if they see a squirrel, regardless of how well trained they were in their youth.
Because if they try to launch into a dead sprint from a standstill after a long nap,
You aren't just looking at a sore dog, you are looking at a torn ligament or a severe spinal injury.
wow. So you are essentially stepping in to protect them from their own drive.
Right. It's not about taking away their spirit or punishing them. It's acknowledging that their instinct will always override their self-preservation.
You're protecting them from trying to be younger than their biology actually allows.
Precisely.
But that stoicism we talked about, hiding their pain, it's dangerous. But what's even trickier is that their actual anatomy is hiding the aging process too.
Especially with Whippets. They are so naturally lean and aerodynamic that losing muscle mass is almost invisible to the naked eye.
We're dealing with sarcopenia, right?
Hmm.
The natural age-related loss of muscle tissue.
Hmm?
But because they don't have a thick coat or a thick layer of fat, their silhouette looks virtually unchanged.
To a casual observer, the muscle loss just looks like more of the same leanness the dog has always had.
So you cannot just put a senior Whippet on a scale and assume everything is fine if the number stays the same.
No, not at all. A brilliant framework from the sources actually asks owners to physically examine the dog. You have to ask what strength remains under the outline.
Meaning you actually have to get your hands on them. You need to physically feel The hindquarters, the shoulders, the muscles along the spine.
Right. Are they losing that dense, springy muscle tone and replacing it with slight fatty deposits? Because that keeps their weight stable, but completely destroys their physical support system.
Weight itself just becomes this incredibly deceptive metric at this stage.
It really does. Reduced metabolic rate and lower activity levels can lead to gradual weight gain, which puts even more stress on those degrading joints.
And on the other end of the spectrum, hidden muscle loss, organ dysfunction, or dental pain can lead to rapid, dangerous weight loss.
And neither extreme is just, quote unquote, normal for an old dog.
Right. Nutrition and appetite become huge indicators here. The research actually flags picky eating as a major medical warning sign.
Which surprises a lot of people.
I can imagine a listener pushing back on this, thinking, couldn't a senior dog just be holding out for better food? Like, they've been eating the same kibble for a decade. They know I have the expensive, freeze-dried treats in the cupboard.
They're folding out for the good stuff.
Exactly. Couldn't sudden picky eating just be a stubborn old dog demanding an upgrade?
Well, it is so tempting to project human motivations like stubbornness or entitlement onto our pets. But in a senior dog, a flat refusal to eat or a sudden change in how they approach their bowl is almost never a behavioral quirk.
It's a massive medical red flag.
Absolutely. Picky eating in an aging canine often stems from systemic nausea due to declining kidney or liver function.
Oh, wow.
Or, very frequently, it is a direct result of severe dental pain.
And dental health is heavily emphasized in our research today. And just like there's stoicism with joint pain, a sore mouth doesn't look like a human with a toothache.
No, they aren't going to hold their jaw and groan.
Right. The pain simply alters their interaction with the world.
Because the mechanics of eating become agonizing. They might stop enjoying chew toys they used to love.
They might turn their head away from food or even shy away from you if you try to pet them around the muzzle.
And the subtle biological red flags are there. Chewing exclusively on one side of the mouth, dropping pieces of food on the floor.
Or developing terrible breath. Bad breath is caused by bacterial decay and systemic inflammation. It is not just an inevitable side effect of getting older.
Such an important point.
So we are constantly scanning for these hidden signs, the atrophied muscle hiding under the lean outline, the silent toothache causing systemic inflammation.
It really paints a picture of a body where the internal support systems are just slowly powering down.
They are losing their muscle mass to hold their skeleton together, and they are losing their internal heat generation.
And because their internal engine isn't keeping them warm or holding them up, that burden shifts entirely to you.
You have to become their external support system by engineering their environment.
Yes. And thermoregulation is a massive physiological factor for this specific breed.
Whippets lack a thick undercoat, and they have practically zero subcutaneous fat. Even in their youth, they are highly sensitive to the cold.
So as seniors, when their metabolism slows down, they generate even less internal body heat. That sensitivity just goes into overdrive.
The research puts it perfectly. For the senior Whippet, warmth is care, not decoration. We're talking about fleece coats, heavy sweaters, heated blankets, and actively blocking drafts in the house.
But the thermodynamic challenge goes both ways.
Right. They also struggle significantly more in the heat, don't they?
They do, due to reduced cardiovascular stamina. An older dog cannot pant efficiently enough to cool their internal temperature down when the ambient heat rises.
You are essentially stepping in to act as their external biological thermostat.
And their external shock absorbers, too. The biomechanics of their environment have to completely change.
So we are talking about laying down non-slip rugs over hardwood or tile floors, installing ramps or low steps so they can get into the car or onto their favorite sofa without having to execute a high-impact jump.
And providing orthopedically supportive beds in multiple rooms so they never have to rest on hard ground.
You're creating an environment that compensates for their physical deficits down to the smallest anatomical detail.
Even their paws require new management.
Right, because an older dog isn't sprinting on pavement, their nails don't wear down naturally.
And long nails might seem like a minor grooming issue, but biomechanically, overgrown nails push the dog's toes up.
Oh, wow, which alters the angle of their wrists and ankles, changing their entire skeletal alignment.
Exactly. And making slipping on smooth floors much more likely.
The physical environment also needs to accommodate their changing skin, right? A senior dog's skin becomes thinner, loses elasticity, and heals much slower.
Which makes them prone to pressure sores or tears if they stumble into something sharp.
And this extends to keeping consistent furniture placement. which is vital if their vision is starting to cloud with cataracts or, nuclear sclerosis.
They map the room in their mind, so moving a coffee table can cause severe disorientation.
We also have to consider creating protected rest areas. A senior dog needs a space entirely separated from boisterous young children or, younger, high-energy puppies in the house.
They need to know they can enter deep sleep without the anxiety of being stepped on or startled.
But looking at this extensive list, the ramps, the rugs, the winter sweaters, the protected rest areas, it's easy to wonder if we are essentially bubble wrapping the dog.
I get that a lot.
By engineering every square inch of their life, are we taking away their independence and treating them like they're made of glass?
It's a completely valid concern, but we really need to reframe what independence actually means for an aging body.
Okay, how so?
None of this environmental design is about treating the dog as fragile. It's about giving them the exact structural support they need to confidently keep doing what they've always loved.
So you aren't stopping them from getting on the sofa, you are giving them a ramp so they can still enjoy the sofa without risking a catastrophic joint injury.
Exactly. You are preserving their independence by removing the environmental hazards.
Preserving independence through design. That is a brilliant way to look at it. And modifying that physical environment naturally leads us to the final and perhaps most complex piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, because it's not just their joints, their muscles, and their temperature regulation that are changing.
Right. It's their neurology, it's their senses, and it's their mind.
And navigating sensory decline is incredibly tricky because it rarely presents cleanly. A dog experiencing gradual vision or hearing loss will startle much more easily. The world basically becomes unpredictable to them.
This is where so much friction and misunderstanding happens between dogs and their owners. What looks like a dog stubbornly ignoring a recall command or refusing to listen might actually just be hearing loss.
The acoustic signal literally isn't reaching their brain the way it used to. Or maybe they can hear the sound but just can't locate where it's coming from.
So physiological changes disguise themselves as behavioral issues all the time in senior dogs.
All the time. And beyond sensory loss, we have to look at cognitive decline, which is essentially canine dementia.
Right, the neurological pathways degrade, leading to behaviors like nighttime restlessness, pacing the halls, staring blankly at walls.
Or getting stuck in corners because they physically forget how to reverse their body out of a tight space.
The research highlights increased anxiety, too. A dog that was previously rock solid and independent might suddenly become intensely clingy, following you from room to room.
Or they might become highly irritable when their daily routine is disrupted even slightly.
They might even have a house training accident after 10 years of perfect behavior.
It is vital that we do not interpret these changes as defiance or bad behavior. When the brain ages, confusion sets in. As our sources beautifully frame it, in old age, a dog's behavior becomes their diary of comfort.
I want to focus on that phrase for a second. The diary of comfort. Think of it like a newborn baby crying. A baby isn't trying to manipulate you. They just only have one alarm bell to signal that they are hungry or tired or in pain.
That's exactly it.
An older dog's sudden house training accident or their sudden irritability is their alarm bell going off. They are losing sphincter control, or they are experiencing a cognitive fog that made them forget the road to the back door.
They are writing in their diary of comfort.
Right. And to read that diary accurately, we have to drop our human ego.
We have to stop taking their behavioral changes personally and start looking at the behavior purely as biological data.
And reading the behavior as data ties directly into how we measure their overall quality of life. And measuring quality of life is difficult because every aging body has a bad day.
You can't judge their overall health by a single difficult afternoon. It has to be judged by analyzing patterns over weeks and months.
We are looking for trends in their comfort levels, their appetite, their mobility, the quality of their sleep, and their ability to toilet comfortably and with dignity.
And the research strongly suggests using digital tracking tools. A specific app called VitalPet is mentioned to record all of these metrics.
So you track weight trends, daily symptoms, sleep patterns, and veterinary notes.
Tracking the data is crucial because human memory is deeply, fundamentally flawed when it comes to caregiving.
We suffer from recency bias.
Exactly. We tend to remember the extreme moments. The one really fantastic day where they chased a ball, or the one terrible night where they paced the floors until dawn.
But by externalizing the data into an app or a journal, those gradual, slow-moving biological patterns become visible.
You can actually see the 2-month slow decline in appetite or the steady, gradual increase in restless nights rather than just relying on a scattered emotional memory.
It removes the guesswork and makes your conversations with your veterinarian incredibly productive because you are bringing them objective data, not just vague worries.
It completely clears up the muddy waters of aging.
It does. So pulling all of these threads together, the senior Whippet, despite the sarcopenia, the arthritis, the dietary changes, and the cloudy eyes, is still the exact same spirit.
They are the same quiet sprinter from their youth.
They still possess the same deep affection and those same intense, lightning-fast flashes of prey-drive instinct. They are just moving through the world at a much gentler tempo now.
And because their tempo has softened, they require an owner whose care is equally soft, highly observational, and far more precise.
It's a beautiful transition to witness if you know the biology behind it and how to support it. But studying all of this today leaves me with one final thought, and it's something I want you, the listener, to really mull over.
Let's hear it.
Well, we just spent this entire deep dive unpacking the incredible lengths we will go to in order to adapt our homes and our lives for an aging pet.
Yeah, we study their biology.
Right. We lay down non-slip rugs so they don't fall. We build custom ramps for the sofa. We meticulously track their daily comfort levels, dropping our ego to gracefully, patiently accommodate their changing senses and their cognitive fog.
We do all of this without question to protect their dignity.
We completely re-engineer their physical world so it fits their new biological reality.
Right.
So what if we applied this exact same diary of comfort mindset to how we design our society for aging humans?
Oh, wow.
Think about the hostility of modern infrastructure toward the elderly. We expect an 80-year-old human with failing eyesight and arthritic knees to navigate a world built entirely for 25-year-olds.
That's so true.
We give them 15 seconds to cross a massive intersection. We design buildings with heavy doors and vast flights of stairs. We dismiss their confusion as a nuisance rather than reading it as a biological alarm bell.
We really do.
Imagine if we treated human aging with that same lack of ego, providing the exact same precise, structural, and environmental support we give our dogs, prioritizing their dignity above all else.
That is a really profound comparison. I mean, we drop a couple of $100s on an orthopedic ramp for the dog under the blanket so they can keep their independence. But our society largely expects our human elders to just keep pushing through the pain, to adapt to a world that refuses to soften its tempo for them.
It's something to deeply consider the next time you see an older dog out on a walk. Maybe they are moving a little slower, maybe the walk is a little shorter, and their muzzle is gray. But remember, if a squirrel crosses that path for one split second, the years vanish, and they are perfect and alert and fully alive. Keep diving deep.